Well, Jeff Bezos must be crying, ladies and gents. Why? Because Warner Brothers is going to be making some brand new Lord of the Rings films. Yes, that's right. The Embracer Group, who purchased the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises last year, at the time, they spoke about spin-offs, new movies, etc. Well, they've just signed a massive deal with Warner Brothers Discovery and New Line, the people who made the definitive, up until this point anyway, adaptation of Lord of the Rings. So Jeff Bezos must be crying in his little pantaloons. We'll dive into this today, ladies and gents. Hit subscribe, give the video a big thumbs up. Love to have you here more often. And, you know, stick it to YouTube that is not really sending my videos out to anyone. That'd be great. Anyway, let's take a look at this, ladies and gents. So more Lord of the Rings movies in the works. This is Warner Brothers and New Line, because they have, of course, struck a brand new deal with the Embracer Group. Now, this was dropped at the time when the Embracer Group brought the rights from Middle-earth Enterprises, and it was a huge deal. Like, Embracer Group, if you didn't know, it's like a big sort of gaming conglomerate. Basically, they have loads of IPs, and they sort of farm them out. They either mine them, farm them out. They're a huge group, right? Massive group, huge amounts of money to be able to just buy the rights for Lord of the Rings. I mean, it's a huge deal. And at the time, their statements at the time, they weren't impressive. The statements were like, we could have a Gandalf spin-off, an Aragorn spin-off, a Gollum spin-off. And you're like, calm your shit. I don't think anyone's... No. As nice as some of those ideas could be, spin-off sounds crap. Not fun. And at the time, I wasn't that keen on it. I wasn't that interested. But now that they've got this deal with Warner Brothers and New Line, now I'm kind of interested. Why? Well, there's a storied history at Warner Brothers and New Line, of course, with Peter Jackson. And they're, for The War for Rohirrim, which is an animated film Warner Brothers is coming out with, which is the Lord of the Rings entry, they're bringing people back who worked with Peter Jackson. So they seem to want to keep it with those individuals. And I will say this as well. The information that they provide here is somewhat reassuring. So I don't hate the idea. And I like the fact Jeff Bezos must be crying in his pants about all of this. So let's take a look, right? This happened last night on the Q4 earnings call. New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures have hammered out a new multi-year agreement with Embracer Group, AB's Middle-earth Enterprises, to team on new Lord of the Rings movies. Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav dropped the news last night during the company's call to discuss its Q4 2022 earnings results. Zaslav has mentioned in previous calls the need for more franchises on the big screen. Now, the deal comes 20 years after New Line released Peter Jackson's epic The Lord of the Rings trilogy, which minted 17 Oscars, including 11 in 2004 for the finale of The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, tying the record for a single film. Warner's reteamed with Jackson for a trilogy of films based on The Hobbit, a co-production with MGM. Combined, the 6 films grossed nearly $6 billion in box office worldwide. And this is why Warner Brothers was a massive company for a very long time. And it's such a shame that they've just fallen so far from grace. And they really have. You know, they were a good distribution partner to a lot of individuals. Legendary, for instance, teamed with Warner Brothers on Godzilla films recently. I don't think Legendary wants to really team with them again, although they're still teaming on Dune Part 2, but Legendary's kind of going elsewhere for other things. Warner Brothers was a huge entity, and then AT&T bought it, and it just sort of sacrificed so much quality. And obviously, you know, profits as well. You know, they have gone downhill massively. $6 billion, insane. Now, New Line and Warner Brothers Animation are currently in production on The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim, an original animated film. I won't say anime, but it's an original animated film set 183 years before the events in The Lord of the Rings. The movie, which tells the fate of the House of Helm Hammerhand, the legendary King of Rohan, is set to open theatrically on April 12th next year. Now, this is the statement which should reassure you a little bit. So, following our recent acquisition of Middle-earth Enterprises, we're thrilled to embark on this new collaborative journey with New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures, bringing the incomparable world of J.R.R. Tolkien back to the big screen in new and exciting ways. This is the CEO of Embracer Group, operative group Free Mode, said in a statement today, "We understand how cherished these works are, and working together with our partners at New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Pictures, we plan to honour the past, look to the future, and adhere to the strongest levels of quality and production values." And I can't help but think that's a slight dig at Amazon. I genuinely can't help but think it must be a slight dig. And then we had this statement as well, which is Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi as a joint statement. They say 20 years ago, New Line took an unprecedented leap of faith to realise the incredible stories, characters and world of The Lord of the Rings on the big screen. The result was a landmark series of films that have been embraced by generations of fans. But for all the scope and detail lovingly packed into the two trilogies, the vast, complex and dazzling universe dreamed up by J.R.R. Tolkien remains largely unexplored on film. The opportunity to invite fans deeper into the cinematic world of Middle-earth is an honour, and we are excited to partner with Middle-earth Enterprises and Embracer on this adventure. So, hey, that's not bad. Those statements are pretty good, and I do like this here, this makes me laugh. Note, in a separate TV rights deal in 2018, worth around $250 million, Amazon beat out Netflix for the rights with the Tolkien estate. Publisher HarperCollins and New Line for a 5-season commitment to bring Lord of the Rings to the streaming service. That became The Lord of the Rings of Power, which debuted. They didn't buy anything. They haven't got the rights to actually anything in terms of books and things, which is hilarious. Now, Middle-earth Enterprises owns the exclusive worldwide motion pictures, games, merchandising, stage and other rights in certain Tolkien literary works, including all the books you know, The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, which is hilarious because those are the people that have the rights to stuff, actual books, and they're like, hey, we'll make a deal with Warner Brothers. Super funny. They've licensed and produced films, games, stage productions and merchandise based on the works for more than 4 decades. Embracer, in August, bought the Middle-earth film rights from late Oscar-winning producer Saul Zaentz. So there you have it, ladies and gents. More Lord of the Rings movies. Like I said, initially when this deal happened, it was very much we're going to do spin-offs. It still seems like that is the case because they're talking about, the rich world hasn't really been explored. I'm hoping that because they have good amount of rights to actual books, there's stuff you can do with it, or that there is stuff you can do with this, but there's stuff which they will be able to do on a creative level because Hollywood's creatively bankrupt. So let's hope that they do good. I have some level of confidence in this. Not massive amount, but some level of confidence in this. And, we'll know very early on if this is a good sign or not. It won't take long to realise that this is good or bad. You'll only have to have a brief cursory glance at who they have on board as Tolkien sort of scholars and academics, basically. If they have some of them on board and they're particular people that are renowned in, like Shippy, for instance, people will go, yeah, sure, we're happy. Cool, fine. So it'd be pretty easy to tell whether this is good or bad. But let me know what you think down below. Are you interested or are you not? Drop your thoughts down below. More Lord of the Rings movies. I'm keen for it. I am. I like Tolkien. I like Lord of the Rings. It's fantastic. I'll be keen to see more. Just needs to be done right. That's my caveat. Cheers, guys. Take care.